The stars looked different from the bridge of the UES Defiant. Captain Eric Freeman stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching Jupiter's swirling clouds through the main viewport. His ship, Earth's newest and most advanced warship, had been on patrol for 3 weeks now. The routine was important, showing the flag across the solar system, checking in on the mining operations near the asteroid belt, and making sure the colonies on Europa and Ganymede were safe. "Captain, we're picking up some unusual readings near Saturn," Lieutenant Jack Miller said from his station. His fingers moved quickly across the glowing control panel. Freeman walked over, his boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. "Define unusual, Lieutenant." "Energy signatures, sir." "Nothing we've seen before. They're moving." The bridge went quiet. Humanity had wondered about alien life for centuries. They had found microbes on Mars and simple organisms under the ice on Europa, but never intelligent life. Never. "Visitors from other stars, battle stations," Freeman said calmly. "Let's not take chances." Red lights flashed as crew members rushed to their posts. The Defiant was a powerful ship, with rail guns, missile tubes, and the new particle beam weapons, but Freeman hoped they wouldn't need them. "Visual contact," announced Communications Officer Lisa Patel. "Putting it on screen now." The main display showed 5 vessels approaching from Saturn's rings. They were unlike any ships Freeman had seen, curved like seashells with glowing blue lines running along their hulls. The smallest was twice the size of the Defiant. "They're broadcasting something, sir," Patel said. It seems to be in English." Freeman raised an eyebrow. "Put it through." The screen changed to show a tall, thin being with pale blue skin and large, dark eyes. It wore what looked like formal robes with complex patterns. "People of Earth," the being said in a voice that sounded almost musical. "I am Ambassador Zorn Val of the Galactic Hegemony. We have been observing your development for some time. Your species has now reached a level where formal contact is appropriate. Your solar system is hereby placed under hegemony protection and administration." Freeman exchanged glances with his executive officer, Commander Alan Wells. This wasn't a greeting. It was a claim of ownership. "This is Captain Eric Freeman of the United Earthship Defiant," he responded. "We welcome peaceful contact with your civilization, but Earth and the solar system are sovereign territory of humanity. We do not recognize any external authority over our worlds." The alien's expression didn't change, but there was a pause before it spoke again. "Captain Freeman, perhaps I was not clear. This is not a negotiation. The hegemony has incorporated 47 species into our collective. Resistance has proven counterproductive for previous species. Your technology level is impressive for your age, but you cannot stand against us." Freeman felt his jaw tighten. "Ambassador, we have no quarrel with your hegemony, but we will defend our independence." "Very well. A demonstration may be required." The transmission ended. "Sir, 3 smaller vessels have broken from their formation," Miller reported urgently. "They're heading toward the Galileo research station near Europa." Freeman's decision was immediate. "Intercept course, maximum thrust. Weapons hot. The Defiant's..." Engines roared to life as the ship accelerated. On the tactical display, Freeman could see they wouldn't reach the research station in time. "Contact the station," he ordered. "Tell them to evacuate immediately." But it was too late. The alien vessels fired strange, pulsing beams at the station. Instead of an explosion, the entire structure seemed to fold in on itself. 342 civilians, Wells whispered. "Just gone." Freeman felt cold anger rise inside him. "Target the nearest enemy vessel. Fire when ready." The Defiant's particle beams lashed out, followed by a salvo of missiles. The alien ship's shields flared but held, until the 3rd missile hit the same spot. There was a flash of blue light as the shield collapsed, and the 4th missile struck the hull directly. The alien vessel listed to one side, trailing debris. "The other ships are altering course," Miller reported. "They're coming for us." For the next 20 minutes, the bridge was chaos as the Defiant ducked and weaved through enemy fire. Freeman's ship was faster, more maneuverable, but the alien weapons were devastating. Each hit made the Defiant shudder violently. "Hull breach." "On deck 3, someone shouted. "Sealing emergency bulkheads." Freeman knew they couldn't win this fight, not against all 4 remaining ships. But they could show these aliens that humans wouldn't be easy prey. Target their lead vessel's propulsion system, he ordered. Then emergency jump back to Earth. The Defiant's weapons found their mark. The largest alien ship spun helplessly as its engines failed. As the other vessels moved to assist, the Defiant activated its experimental jump drive and vanished. 4. Hours later, Freeman stood in the United Earth Defense Council chamber in Geneva. The room was filled with grim-faced military officers and government officials. On screens around the room, more people joined virtually from colonies across the solar system. They call themselves the Galactic Hegemony, Freeman explained, his uniform still stained with smoke. They've conquered 47 other species, and now they've come for us. Admiral Kelly Peterson, head of Earth's defense forces, leaned forward. Your assessment, Captain? Their technology is advanced but not unbeatable. We damaged 2 of their vessels. The Defiant isn't even our most powerful ship, just the one that happened to be there. Freeman paused. But there will be more coming. Many more. Then we need time, said Defense Secretary Maria Diaz. Time to prepare. We need to evacuate our most vulnerable outposts, Freeman continued. Consolidate our forces, and we need to understand their technology better. During the battle, we captured some readings that our science team is analyzing now. How much time do we have? Asked the Secretary General. Freeman looked at the tactical display showing the alien fleet regrouping near Saturn. Days, maybe weeks, before their reinforcements arrive. But they've made a critical mistake. What's that? Peterson asked. They showed us who they are, Freeman said quietly. They didn't come to talk or trade. They came to conquer, and they killed hundreds of innocent researchers to make a point. He looked around the room. They think we'll surrender when we see their power. They think we'll be like those other 47 species. And we won't be, Peterson finished. No, ma'am, Freeman agreed. We'll be the species that fights back. As the Council began planning Earth's defense, Freeman thought about the faces of his crew after witnessing the destruction of the research station. There had been shock and grief, yes, but something else too. Determination. Resolve. The hegemony had centuries of conquest behind them, but they had never met humans before, and humanity was about to teach them a painful lesson about underestimating their newest acquisition. 6 months had passed since first contact. 6 months of occupation, resistance, and bloodshed. Lieutenant Samantha Reeves ducked into the abandoned subway tunnel that served as her team's current base in Chicago. The city above was under hegemony control, with their sleek patrol ships making regular sweeps between the skyscrapers. Any trouble? Asked Greg Miller, a former police officer, who now served as her second-in-command. Samantha shook her head, pulling back her hood. Their patrols are getting predictable. They sweep the same routes at the same times. Aliens who love routine, Greg said with a small smile. Lucky for us. The resistance cell's makeshift headquarters was lit by portable lamps. Maps covered the walls, marked with hegemony checkpoints and patrol routes. 20 people lived here now, emerging only at night to gather supplies or strike against the occupiers. We got a message from command, said Kara Lewis, their communications specialist. She handed Samantha a small data tablet. It's encrypted. Samantha entered her access codes and read the message. Her eyes widened. What is it? Greg asked. Operation Hornet's Nest is a go, she said quietly. Admiral Jackson wants all cells to coordinate strikes in 3 days. The news spread through the room like electricity. For months they had been hitting small targets, supply depots, communication relays, the occasional patrol, but they all knew these were just preparations for something bigger. What's our target? Kara asked. Samantha pointed to the map. The processing center at the old university. That's where they're forcing our scientists to work on their technology. Heavy security, Greg noted. And one very important person we need to extract, Samantha added. Dr. Nathan Keller. 200 miles above Earth, Ambassador Zornval stood, on the command deck of the Hegemony flagship Eternal Dominion. Earth looked peaceful from here, blue and white and beautiful, but appearances were deceiving. "Another transport destroyed," reported Sub-Commander Draz, his blue skin flushed darker with frustration. "That's the third this week." "Where?" Zornval asked. "The region called Montana. The humans used their primitive projectile weapons to bring it down after it passed through the mountains." Zornval made a soft clicking sound with his four-part jaw, the hegemony equivalent of a sigh. "They are persistent. They are animals," Draz corrected. "The Council was right to order their technology restricted. Imagine if these creatures had developed proper interstellar capabilities on their own." Zornval moved to the large view, screen showing Earth's night side. Lights from human cities still glowed, though many were dimmer under occupation. "The Council underestimated them," he said quietly. 47 species, all successfully incorporated into the hegemony. None fought like this. "The Vrex rebelled for nearly a year," Draz pointed out. "The Vrex targeted our leaders. These humans—" Zornval gestured to a display showing attack statistics. "They target our supply lines, our communications, our infrastructure. They're not trying to kill us, they're trying to exhaust us." A junior officer approached and bowed. "Ambassador, we've intercepted communications suggesting a major resistance operation is imminent." "Where?" "Unknown." The message was incomplete. Zornval turned back to the view of Earth. "Increase security at all primary facilities. And schedule another council briefing. They need to understand what we're facing here." On Europa, the icy moon of Jupiter, Admiral William Jackson stood in the command center of humanity's hidden base. The facility had been built inside the moon's thick ice crust years before as a research station, then expanded when the war began. "The Defiant is repaired and ready," reported Captain Freeman via secure channel. His face on the screen looked older than 6 months ago, with new scars and a closely trimmed beard. "And the modifications?" Jackson asked. "Dr. Keller's designs work even better than expected. The shield phasing technology lets our weapons pass right through their defenses." Freeman allowed himself a small smile. "We tested it on a patrol ship near Titan. 1 shot, 1 kill." Jackson nodded. He was a tall man with dark skin and gray at his temples. 30 years in Earth's Navy hadn't prepared him for leading a resistance against alien invaders, but he was adapting. They all were. "Operation Hornet's Nest begins in 72 hours, he said. "Every resistance cell on Earth will hit targets, simultaneously. During the chaos, Reeves's team will extract Dr. Keller from Chicago." "And the fleet?" Freeman asked. Jackson touched a control, showing the positions of 7 human warships hidden throughout the solar system. "Once Keller is safe, we launch our counteroffensive. The Defiant will lead the Mars Strike Force. Your job is to destroy their command and control center on Phobos." "What about Earth?" "One problem at a time, Captain. First, we need to show the hegemony that controlling our space is more trouble than it's worth." In Chicago, night had fallen when Samantha led her team toward the university complex. They moved through dark streets, avoiding the floating drones that patrolled with scanning beams. "Remember," she whispered to her 6-person team, "we have 15 minutes to get in, find Keller, and get out before their systems reset and detect us." Greg checked his rifle, a conventional weapon modified with technology stolen from the hegemony. "And if we run into opposition?" "Non-lethal if possible. We need to make this look like a simple power failure, not an attack. That's why all the other cells are hitting their targets at the same time, to hide what we're really after." They reached the perimeter fence. Kara attached a small device that sent out a pulse, creating a temporary gap in the aliens' detection field. One by one, they slipped through. The main building loomed ahead, once a place of learning, now a prison for Earth's brightest minds. Guards patrolled the entrances, both alien and human collaborators. "Now," Samantha whispered into her comm unit. Across Chicago, other resistance teams struck their targets. Power stations went dark. Communication relays exploded. A hegemony shuttle crashed into Lake Michigan, and in the confusion, all security systems at the university reset exactly as planned. Samantha's team moved quickly through the darkened building. They had memorized the layout from a maintenance worker who had smuggled out information. 3rd floor, East Wing, Lab 12. When they burst into the lab, they found a thin man with glasses working at a strange-looking device. "Dr. Keller?" Samantha asked. He looked up, startled. "Yes?" "We're getting you out of here. Admiral Jackson sent us." For a moment he hesitated. "I can't leave yet, not without this." He pointed to the device. "What is it?" Greg asked. "The reason the hegemony is so afraid of us," Keller said, carefully disconnecting the machine. "I've discovered the flaw in their technology and how we can use it against them." Alarms began to sound throughout the building. Their time was up. "Explain later," Samantha said, helping him pack the device. "Right now we run." As they escaped into the night, Keller looked back at the building where he'd been a prisoner for months. "They've made a fatal mistake," he said. "What's that?" Samantha asked as they ducked into a sewer entrance. "They think we're primitive because our technology is different. But that's not weakness. It's our strength. They've used the same systems. For 1,000 years, they've stopped innovating." He patted the bag containing his device. "And now we're going to show them what human innovation looks like." 1 year into the occupation, the war had changed. The hegemony had expected Earth to fall completely within months, as all other worlds had. Instead, they found themselves trapped in a grinding conflict with no end in sight. Captain Eric Freeman stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, now almost unrecognizable from the ship it had been a year ago. Human engineers had studied captured alien technology and merged it with their own designs. The result was something entirely new, neither fully human nor hegemony, but more effective than either. "Battle group in position, Captain," reported Commander Wells. "All 7 ships reporting ready." Freeman nodded. Through the viewport, the red planet Mars loomed large. Once home to 3 human colonies, it was now the hegemony's main base in the inner solar system. 20 alien warships orbited the planet, along with dozens of supply vessels and a massive command station built into Phobos, Mars' largest moon. "Begin jamming on my mark," Freeman ordered. "Remember, we hit them hard and fast. Don't give them time to organize a response." Dr. Nathan Keller stood beside him, looking uncomfortable in a military uniform. After his rescue from Chicago, he had become the head of Earth's new weapons development program. His insights into hegemony technology had changed the course of the war. "Are you sure this will work?" Keller asked quietly. Freeman gave him a confident smile. "Your phase-shift missiles worked perfectly in the tests. The bigger question is whether their friends will get the message." 3 minutes to optimal position, Wells announced. Freeman opened a channel to all ships. "This is Captain Freeman. For 1 year we fought for our home, our freedom, and our future. Today we take back Mars. Today we show the hegemony that humanity will not be conquered." He paused. "And tomorrow we take the fight to them." Cheers erupted over the comm system. Freeman nodded to Wells. "Begin the attack." The 7 human ships accelerated toward Mars, far faster than hegemony vessels could move. The aliens had always relied on overwhelming firepower rather than speed or maneuverability. It was one of many weaknesses that humans had discovered. "They're responding," Wells reported. "Enemy vessels moving to intercept." "Deploy countermeasures," Freeman ordered. Small drones launched from the human ships, each broadcasting signals that mimicked a warship. On hegemony sensors, it would appear as if dozens of vessels were attacking from multiple directions. "Phase-shift missiles armed," the weapons officer announced. "Target their command vessels first," Freeman ordered. "Fire!" The missiles streaked toward the alien fleet. Normal hegemony shields would have stopped them easily, but these weapons, based on Dr. Keller's discoveries, vibrated at a specific frequency that allowed them to pass right through the alien defenses as if they weren't there. The first explosions lit up the Martian sky. 3 hegemony command ships erupted in flames almost simultaneously. "They're trying to adjust their shield frequencies," Keller noted, watching the sensor readings. But they can't adapt fast enough. Freeman nodded. Launch second wave. More. Missiles raced outward, each targeting a different enemy vessel. The hegemony fleet began to scatter, their disciplined formation breaking apart as captains tried to save their own ships. Sir, incoming transmission from Phobos, Wells reported. It's Regional Commander Grell. On screen, Freeman ordered. The alien commander's face appeared, his blue skin now almost white with rage or fear. Freeman couldn't tell which. This is outrageous, Grell sputtered. You cannot possibly hope to win. The hegemony has resources beyond your comprehension. We will bring 100 ships, 1,000 if necessary. Freeman leaned forward. Then we'll destroy 100 ships or 1,000. How many can you afford to lose, Commander? How will you explain to your council that a primitive species is decimating your fleet? On the tactical display, another hegemony vessel exploded. The human ships were now moving among the alien fleet like wolves among sheep, their superior speed and maneuverability making them nearly impossible targets. You fight without honor, Grell accused. No civilized species uses such barbaric tactics. We fight to win, Freeman replied simply. Something you've forgotten how to do after centuries of easy conquests. He turned to Wells. Target the Phobos command station. Wait, Grell cried. There are 10,000 of our people on this station. Then evacuate them, Freeman said coldly. You have 1 hour. Any ships leaving the station will not be fired upon. He cut the transmission. Keller looked at him with surprise. You're really giving them time to evacuate? We're not like them, Doctor. We don't kill civilians to make a point. Freeman turned to his communications officer. Send a message to Admiral Jackson. Mars operation proceeding as planned. Phase 2 ready to commence. In the Hegemony Council chamber, billions of miles away, 7 alien leaders watched the battle unfold with growing horror. Their holographic displays showed the human ships moving with impossible precision, targeting critical systems on each hegemony vessel before moving to the next. How is this happening? Asked Counselor Thex, the eldest member. These creatures barely had space travel a century ago. Ambassador Zorn Val, recalled from Earth to explain the deteriorating situation, stood before them. They adapt faster than any species we've encountered. They take our technology, understand it almost immediately, and improve upon it. Impossible, said another counselor. Our science is the pinnacle of galactic achievement. With respect, that belief may be our downfall, Zorn Val replied. These humans don't accept limitations. When faced with superior technology, they don't surrender. They innovate. On the display, they watched as evacuation ships began streaming from the Phobos station. True to Freeman's word, the human vessels allowed them to pass unmolested. And they show mercy, noted Counselor Isa, the only female on the council. Even as they destroy our military capacity, they spare our people. Weakness, snapped Thex. Strategy, corrected Zorn Val. They don't want to unite us against them through atrocity. They want to divide us by showing they are more civilized than we have been. A new alert sounded. One of the technicians looked up in alarm. Counselors were detecting human ships near Rigel, Deneb, and Tau Ceti, all major hegemony worlds. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Zorn Val alone remained calm, having expected this. They're not just defending their world anymore, he said quietly. They're taking the fight to us, and I fear we have no idea how to stop them. Back at Mars, Freeman watched as the last evacuation ships cleared the Phobos station. The hour was up. All vessels report ready, Captain, said Wells. Freeman took a deep breath. This would be the moment that changed the war. The moment the hegemony realized they weren't fighting a defensive Earth, but a humanity ready to strike back across the stars. Target Phobos command station, he ordered. Fire when ready. The missiles launched, phasing through the station's shields as if they weren't there. The explosions began small, then grew as they triggered secondary detonations throughout the structure. Within minutes, the hegemony's command center for the entire solar system was nothing but debris. Send the message to all hegemony frequencies, Freeman said. The communications officer nodded. Transmitting now, sir. Across hegemony space on 100 worlds, alien leaders received the same video. Captain Eric Freeman, standing on his bridge, speaking calmly, but with unmistakable determination. This is Captain Freeman of Earth. 1 year ago, you came to our world uninvited. You killed our people. You claimed our planets. Today, we have shown you the price of that mistake. We will not be conquered. We will not be ruled. And we are coming for you. 2 years into the conflict, the balance of power had shifted dramatically. Humanity had reclaimed Mars and established secure colonies throughout the asteroid belt. The hegemony still occupied parts of Earth, but their control weakened daily, as resistance cells grew bolder and better equipped. In a hidden facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Lieutenant Samantha Reeves watched Dr. Nathan Keller put the finishing touches on his newest creation. The device wasn't impressive to look at, just a metal cylinder about the size of a coffee thermos, but its potential could change everything. "Is it ready?" she asked. Keller nodded, his eyes tired but excited. "Project Thunderbolt is complete. One of these can disable every hegemony shield within a 1,000-mile radius without harming the ships themselves." Admiral Jackson entered the lab, followed by Captain Freeman. Both men looked worn from 2 years of constant warfare, but there was a new energy in their movements. "The delivery systems are ready," Jackson announced. "The UES Valiant and UES Intrepid have been retrofitted with the same modifications as the Defiant." Freeman picked up the Thunderbolt device, examining it carefully. "And you're certain this won't harm their life support systems? Just their weapons and shields?" "Positive," Keller assured him. "It targets specific frequencies used only in their military technology. Their crews will be completely unharmed." He paused. "Although they might panic when they realize they're defenseless." "That's the point," Samantha said. "We want to capture their ships intact, not destroy them." Jackson unrolled a star chart on the table. "Our intelligence network has located the hegemony capital world. It's in a star system they call Vela Prime, 60 light-years from Earth." Everyone fell silent. 60 light-years was far beyond any distance humans had traveled before the war. Even with the improved faster-than-light drives they'd developed based on hegemony technology, it would be a dangerous journey. "Can we make it?" Freeman asked. Keller nodded slowly. "Theoretically, yes. We've improved their jump drive efficiency by 40%. The real question is whether we can get close enough to deploy Thunderbolt. Their home system will be heavily defended." "That's where Maya comes in," Samantha said. On cue, Maya Rodriguez entered the room. Once a college student, she now led the largest resistance network on Earth. Her operations had liberated 3 major cities in the past month alone. "My people are in position," she reported. "We can launch synchronized attacks on every remaining hegemony stronghold on Earth. They'll have no choice but to call for reinforcements from their home system." Jackson nodded. "Thinning their defenses at Vela Prime and giving us our opening," Freeman added. The plan was audacious, perhaps even foolhardy. But in 2 years of war, humans had learned that conventional tactics didn't work against the hegemony's superior technology. They needed to be unpredictable, innovative, and bold. "The Council will never expect us to strike directly at their capital," Jackson said. "Their arrogance is our greatest advantage." 3 days later, the 3 human warships, Defiant, Valiant, and Intrepid, prepared for their historic mission. Each carried a Thunderbolt device and a small team of Marines trained to board and capture hegemony vessels. On the bridge of the Defiant, Freeman addressed his crew. "What we're attempting has never been done before. We're taking the fight directly to the enemy's doorstep 60 light-years from home." He looked around at their determined faces. "But distance doesn't matter. What matters is showing the hegemony that nowhere in this galaxy is beyond humanity's reach." The ships moved to their jump positions beyond Jupiter's orbit. On Earth, Maya's resistance fighters were already in motion, striking hegemony positions worldwide in a carefully coordinated assault. "Jump drives at full power," reported Commander Wells from his station. Freeman took a deep breath. "On my mark. 3, 2, 1, jump." The stars outside blurred and stretched as the ships entered faster-than-light travel. The journey would take 12 hours, 12 hours during which they would be completely vulnerable if something went wrong. In the hegemony capital city on Vela Prime, Ambassador Zornval stood before the full council. His report on the deteriorating situation in the Sol system had been met with disbelief and anger. "You mean to tell us," said Elder Counselor Thex, "that these primitives have driven our forces from Mars? That they've adapted our technology and improved upon it?" "Impossible, not impossible," Zornval replied calmly. "Happening. The humans learn faster than any species we've encountered. They don't think like us." "Clearly," sneered another counselor. "No civilized species would—" An alarm interrupted the meeting. A communications officer rushed into the chamber, his blue skin pale with shock. "Counselors, we've received emergency signals from Earth. All our remaining bases are under simultaneous attack." The council erupted in confused shouting. Zornval alone remained silent, wondering what the humans were really planning. This felt like a diversion. "Dispatch the home fleet," ordered Thex. "Crush this rebellion once and for all." "But sir," protested the officer, "that would leave Vela Prime with minimal defenses." "Who would dare attack the heart of the hegemony?" Thex demanded. "No species has ever been so foolish." Zornval closed his eyes briefly. "No species you've encountered before," he whispered. 11 hours later, as half the hegemony home fleet prepared to jump to Earth, sensors at the edge of the Vela system detected an anomaly. "3 vessels approaching," reported a junior officer. "Configuration unknown." The remaining defense fleet moved to intercept. 10 warships against 3 should have been an easy victory, but these weren't ordinary ships. On the Defiance Bridge, Freeman watched the enemy vessels approach. "They don't recognize our configuration," he noted. "The modifications have worked." "They're hailing us," said the communications officer. "Ignore it," Freeman ordered. "All ships, deploy Thunderbolt on my mark." The 3 human vessels accelerated to attack speed. The hegemony ships, expecting the intruders to flee from their superior numbers, were caught off guard by the directing approach. "Mark." From each human ship, a Thunderbolt device launched toward the center of the hegemony formation. They detonated in brilliant flashes of blue-white light. There was no explosion, no destructive wave, just a pulse of energy that washed over the alien vessels. One by one, the lights on the hegemony ships dimmed. Their weapons powered down, their shields failed. "It worked," Wells exclaimed. "All enemy vessels are disabled." Freeman opened a channel to all ships, both human and hegemony. "This is Captain Eric Freeman of Earth. Your vessels are disabled, but your life support systems remain functional. Do not attempt to restore weapons or shields." The Defiant accelerated past the helpless defense fleet, heading directly toward the shining blue-green world of Vela Prime and its orbital stations. Indo, the Hegemony Council chamber, chaos reigned. Live feeds showed the 3 human warships advancing unopposed toward the capital. Planetary defense systems were activating, but everyone knew they were designed to support the fleet, not replace it. "How did they find us?" someone shouted. "How did they get here so quickly?" demanded another. "It doesn't matter," said Counselor Isa, the only one who had maintained her composure. "What matters is what we do now." All eyes turned to Zornval, who stood silently watching the approaching human ships. "Ambassador," said Isa, "you've studied these humans longer than anyone. What are they planning?" Zornval looked at the tactical display where the Defiant was now breaking away from the other ships, accelerating directly toward the Council's orbital station. "They're going to make us an offer," he said quietly. "And for the first time in the hegemony's history, I suggest we listen." An emergency alert sounded throughout the station. A panicked voice came over the speakers, words that would be remembered in hegemony history for centuries to come. "A human warship is too close. Repeat. A human warship is too close." The Hegemony Council station orbited Vela Prime like a gleaming silver ring. For 1,000 years, it had been the center of power for a civilization that ruled hundreds of worlds across dozens of star systems. Now, its occupants watched in disbelief as a single human warship approached their supposedly impregnable sanctuary. Defensive systems are not responding, reported a technician, his voice shaking. The human vessel has us in weapons range. Elder Counselor Thex pounded his fist on the polished table. This is outrageous. Call in the remaining fleet. The remaining ships are also affected by whatever weapon they used, Zornval explained calmly. Their systems are disabled. The communications panel lit up. They're hailing us, said an officer. Counselor, Isa nodded. Put them through. Captain Eric Freeman's face appeared on the large view screen. The human looked tired but determined, his uniform bearing the marks of 2 years of war. This is Captain Freeman of Earth. I wish to speak with your leadership. Thex stepped forward, drawing himself up to his full height. I am Elder Counselor, Thex of the Galactic Hegemony. Your actions are an act of war against the most powerful civilization in the galaxy. Surrender now and we may spare your primitive world. Freeman's expression didn't change. Look outside your window, Counselor. Your defenses are down. Your fleet is disabled. We could destroy this station with a single missile. But unlike you, we don't kill civilians to make a point. Zornval moved into view. What do you want, Captain? Peace, Freeman said simply. On our terms. I propose a meeting on neutral ground to discuss the future relationship between humanity and the hegemony. Thex laughed harshly. You think you can dictate terms to us? This trick with our shields is temporary at best. We have resources beyond your comprehension. Do you? Freeman asked quietly. Because from where I'm standing it seems like the hegemony has been coasting on the same technology for centuries. You've stopped innovating, stopped adapting. He leaned forward. Meanwhile, in just 2 years, we've taken your most advanced systems and improved them. What do you think we'll do in 10 years, or 50? Silence fell over the council chamber. It was Isa who finally spoke. We will meet with you, Captain Freeman. Name your location. 2 days later, a neutral space station at the edge of the Vela system hosted the most important diplomatic meeting in recent galactic history. Captain Freeman led the human delegation, accompanied by Dr. Nathan Keller and Admiral William Jackson, who had arrived with reinforcements after securing Earth. The hegemony was represented by Counselor Isa, Ambassador Zornval, and reluctantly, Elder Counselor Thex. Security teams from both sides watched each other warily across the conference room. Let me be clear about our position, Freeman began. Earth and the entire Sol system are sovereign human territory. All hegemony forces must withdraw immediately. Preposterous, Thex snapped. Freeman continued as if he hadn't heard. Second, the hegemony will pay reparations for the damage caused during your illegal occupation. You expect us to pay you? Thex was incredulous. Third, Freeman said, the hegemony will recognize humanity as an independent power with the right to explore and colonize unclaimed systems. Zornval studied the humans carefully. And in return? Peace, Freeman replied. We stop our attacks. On hegemony worlds, we share certain technological innovations. And we join you in a reformed galactic community, not as subjects but as equals. Thex rose to his feet. This is absurd. We have ruled the stars for 1,000 years. Perhaps that's the problem. Dr. Keller spoke for the first time. He placed a data tablet on the table and activated it, displaying complex technical diagrams. Your drive systems operate at 68% efficiency because you've never questioned the basic principles established centuries ago. Your weapons use power, configurations that waste nearly 40% of their energy. Your communication systems, he continued methodically, pointing out dozens of flaws and inefficiencies in hegemony technology, flaws that human scientists had identified and corrected in their adapted versions. You haven't faced real competition in so long you've become complacent, Keller concluded. Your hierarchy discourages innovation. Your rigid thinking prevents adaptation. Zornval looked troubled. These improvements, they're significant. And we've made them in just 2 years, Admiral Jackson added. Imagine where we'll be in another decade. Counselor Isa had been silent, absorbing everything. Now she turned to Thex. "Elder, I believe we should consider these terms seriously." "Never." Thex stood up. "I will not be the leader who surrenders to primitives." "Then you will be the leader who lost everything to them," Zornval said quietly. "Because they will not stop. They cannot be intimidated or overwhelmed like the other species we've conquered. They learn from every defeat. They grow stronger from every challenge." Thex stormed out of the room. Isa watched him go, then turned back to the humans. "I believe we can reach an agreement." 6 months later, Captain Freeman stood in a different council chamber. The newly formed Galactic Council included representatives from all hegemony worlds, and now Earth. The structure was different, more equal. No longer a hierarchy, but a true alliance. Freeman, now serving as Earth's first ambassador, watched as the final documents were signed. The Sol system was officially recognized as sovereign human territory. Trade routes were established. Joint scientific ventures were planned. As the ceremony concluded, a hegemony scientist approached him. She was young for her species, her blue skin still vibrant. "Ambassador Freeman," she said hesitantly, "I studied your conflict with us as part of my academic work. There's something I don't understand." "What's that?" "You could have destroyed us. When your ships reached our homeworld, when our defenses failed, you could have ended the hegemony. Why didn't you?" Freeman considered the question. "Because that's not who we are. We fought to be free, not to conquer." She seemed puzzled by this concept. "But all our history suggests that rising powers always seek to dominate." "Perhaps that's why your history needed changing," Freeman suggested. "Sometimes the strongest move isn't to crush your opponent, but to help them stand beside you." Later that day, Freeman stood at a viewport watching the unveiling of humanity's newest vessel, the UES Excalibur. It was a magnificent ship, larger than any before it, incorporating the best of human ingenuity and alien technology. Admiral Jackson had overseen its construction personally. Beside Freeman stood Zorn Val, now serving as the hegemony's ambassador to Earth. "An impressive achievement," the alien noted. "Built in just 6 months." "The first of many," Freeman replied. "We're establishing shipyards throughout the Sol system. Within a year, we'll have a fleet of 20. Zornval shook his head in amazement. "You know, when I first saw humans, I thought you were primitive, backward, limited. Now I wonder if the rest of the galaxy is ready for you." Freeman smiled. "They'd better be, because we're just getting started." On the bridge of the Excalibur, Admiral Jackson addressed the assembled crew. 2 years ago, aliens came to our world thinking we would bow down before their superior technology. They didn't understand what makes humans different. When we face something bigger and stronger, we don't surrender, we adapt, we overcome, we grow. He gestured toward the stars visible through the massive viewport. And now those stars are open to us. Not as conquerors, but as explorers. Not through intimidation, but through innovation. The ship's engines hummed to life as it prepared for its maiden voyage. "Set course for Alpha Centauri," Jackson ordered. "Let's show the galaxy what humanity can do."